Hello, friends. Welcome in, one and all. It's the Matt Murphy Radio Show underway for another day on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Pleased and proud to be a part of your day today, whatever time you're able to give us. We've got 180 minutes of what I hope to be broadcast excellence until we make way for the drive with Brian Wilson right around 3 o'clock this afternoon. Hang in, buckle up. It's going to be a busy show. It is a Friday edition, meaning it's a First Amendment Freestyle Friday. Whatever's on your mind, we open up the phone lines and we allow you to speak truth to power. 615-737-9986. At any point during the proceedings, you're allowed to dial us up and do what you do, and we appreciate that. If you are of the shy type, if you don't call radio programs, I would wish that you would, but if that's not for you, never you fear. We've got another outlet for you, and that's the membersnutrition.com super text line. Same number, 615-737-9986, 615-737-WWTN. Give us a shout on the membersnutrition.com super text line or on the telephone lines at any point during the process today. All right, so we've got a lot of different ways to listen to the show. I like to remind you of those at the beginning of the program before we get things lumbering under our own weight. You have, of course, the radio dial, 99.7 FM from northern Alabama and southern Kentucky and all points in between. You, of course, have any internet streaming platform of your choosing. Anywhere you stream news, information, podcasts, music, or anything else, just type in Super Talk 99.7 WTN and take us where you go. And if you can't find us there, let us know, and we'll get there. And then, of course, there's our own app. You can download that. That's option number 3. Option number 4, I would consider it to be the least of these, but some people seem to like it. It's Super Talk Television. Super Talk TV is brought to you by U.S. Pest on the Matt Murphy Show. Thank you to J.K., Erica, and the rest of the crew for bringing us Super Talk Television on a day-to-day basis. You can see them right there. Hold on, let me see if I can do it. It's right there. Right there. Right there. Right there. 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 Is it over there?
No, that's the F&M Bank.
There?
Okay, down.
Uh-huh.
Now you're pointing off camera. You almost. Right there. There you go. Now move your hand to your left. More. Close enough.
If you get termites, give them a call, would you?
Also, problem with roaches, just go there. It's right there.
If you need some banking, is F&M Bank up there?
Oh, you got it the first try.
It's up there? Okay. So F&M Bank, U.S. Pest, and then there's me. I know where I am. I'm Matt Murphy on your radio dial and on your television dial, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch. It is episode 587 of our proceedings today. That's the voice of Bell K. Never you will see him on, did I say that right? It was like a Yoda-ism. Never you will see him, will you? You won't see him on Super Talk Television because he chooses not to participate. It's why we call him Headless Bell. But he does title them, and today's episode 587 is entitled
Matt Murphy, a one-man crime spree, but Bell gets the blame. Libertarian lunch, noon to 3.
What did I do? Wait, what did I do? One-man crime spree?
Yeah.
Is that referring to anything specific or just broadly? The crimes. What? I don't remember if I did something.
If you did something?
Yes.
Trust me, you've done lots of things.
I guess that's true. Later on, we will celebrate the final day of McMorey. It's getting a little too maudlin and sentimental for my taste. I listened to some of the morning show, Dan Mandis and Nashville's Morning News and all of that soppy nonsense during the Gang of Four Amigos. I listened to some of the soppiness during the Chris Hand show. We'll have none of it on the Matt Murphy show. Anytime I feel emotions bubbling up into my throat along these lines, I do my best to swallow them down, swat them away, and remind myself that McMorey is a traitor of a Benedict Arnold nature and needs to be treated as such. And so he is TM, dead to me. And I will say the same at 2 o'clock as we say goodbye to McMorey.
Mac is leaving and
going off to Kansas City. You ever been to Kansas?
I have.
Have you?
Yeah.
I've not. I've driven through there. But I don't. Do you consider like driving through a state going? I mean, I guess technically you can check in a box, but I don't consider that going to the state.
I guess you kind of need to stop and do something.
That's what I'm saying.
Like I flew through Chicago one time, but I don't consider that being in Chicago.
Exactly. Flying into the airport and stopping by O'Hare or whatever, that's not being in the city. So
I've been through Paris, but I didn't go out and do anything.
Paris, France?
Yeah.
You've been to France?
Yeah, I went there.
How is it that we know each other? We've been in this platonic radio relationship for the last 2.5 years, and you're just now telling me that you're a communist?
I had to fly through there to get to Munich.
Okay, well, then that you're forgiven. I don't know why getting to Germany forgives you, but it does for some reason. Anyway, we'll have fun today. It's the First Amendment Freestyle Friday. Look, there's many heavy things that we ought to discuss, not the least of which the disastrous southern border and the disastrous plan that Joe Biden has put into place that will do absolutely nothing on the southern border. A little bit closer to home, we continue to get drips and drabs. Our own Brian Wilson, afternoons on Super Talk 99.7 WTN and The Drive. Obviously, he's been providing a lot of information with regard to what was inside the Covenant Manifesto. Clearly, there is an interest in that. I have to tell you, at some point, my interest wanes if we're just going over the details of the various ways this person was crazy. I know it's important. Don't get me wrong. I'm not poo-pooing it in any way. I'm not suggesting that it doesn't need to be done. At some point, I know that this woman was crazy. At some point, I know that she was mentally deranged. I want to know what medication she was on. I want to know what interaction she had. And a lot of this is coming out, don't get me wrong. But I don't need to know that she did a 3-page long essay about her imaginary penis. I mean, I don't need to know that to know that she was crazy. I don't need to know that sadly the system mollycoddled her in such a way that exacerbated her crazy. I don't need to know that in order to understand that she did not get the help that she needed. But I do believe that this brings up a lot of good conversational points about what direction we want to go in as a society, as a state, and as a community. New details coming out yesterday and today. Tennessee Star has been on top of this story as well, along with Brian Wilson of The Drive on Super Talk 99.7 WTN, that the Covenant School shooter reportedly used funds from a Pell Grant to buy guns that she used for the mass shooting in March of 2023. Brian Wilson reported this yesterday afternoon, or was it yesterday or the day before? It might have been the day before. That Hale, quote, took money from an education grant she received to purchase her weapons and pay for training at a local gun range. Having a little bit of knowledge as to how Pell Grants work, I would suggest to you that that's kind of the way that they work. Once you are approved for a Pell Grant, that Pell Grant comes to you in the form of money, and then you are able to do with that money what you want to do with that money. I don't know that anyone is suggesting that ought to be changed in any way. That is new information, and obviously it's information that will put in a laundry list of information about how this individual conducted her activities up until and prior to the March 2023 slayings of 6 of our own, 3 young children and 3 members of the Covenant School community. Officers responded to the Covenant campus. Obviously, we know what happened upon the response. Hale had at least 7 guns, 3 of which were recovered from the school. She killed, as I mentioned, 6 people, including 3 children. To my knowledge, and Audrey Hale purchased her weapons legally. Unless new details have come out that I am unaware of, unless you believe that discussing fantasy in a psychiatric setting would mean that you no longer are allowed to keep and bear arms. That's where I want. It's where I ended the show yesterday, and it's where I want to start the show today. Because as I said yesterday, these new details, many of them are very salacious. But at the same time, they bring up some very important questions about how we choose to manage ourselves in our society and how we choose to move forward at this point. There are some within our midst that would suggest that at any point that it is determined by and I'm just telling you what others say, that if you want to stop these types of things, that you have to have the ability for a psychiatrist or a psychologist to I'm going to use the phrase intentionally, if they are to flag an individual that they think may or may not be a danger to themselves, then that would start a chain of events that would necessarily end with removing their guns from their person. Well, I'm not casting aspersions on any of the players when I say this, and I'm not taking a stand one way or the other. I'm introducing this to you as a way to have this discussion. This is the real discussion that needs to be had, and here it is. Isn't that what Governor Bill Lee said he wanted to talk about with regard to a red flag law? Isn't that what the state of Tennessee soundly and roundly said no to? Yet now, and I'm merely observing, don't kill the messenger, but now, with some of the new revelations, I hear a chatter about, well, the psychologist should have turned this person over to the police. And I say to you, and then what? The police don't have any authority to go take that person's guns, nor should they. There still has to be something done in a court of law, which, and I'm not here to defend the psychologist, psychiatrist, or the series of psychologists and psychiatrists that are involved in this situation, but I would suggest to you, if you want to lay any blame there, seems to me that the parents should have known first and foremost what was going on. I don't agree with red flag laws, because I do not believe that red flag laws work. However, I find it interesting that some of the same cast of characters that were right there with me against the concept of preempting the proper chain of events, the proper course of action, when it comes to finding someone unable to fully function in a civilized society in such a way that we're going to give you all of your rights. I mean, the proper place to do that is in a court of law. Yet even then, when we talked about, well, a judge would have to sign off on some of these things, I guess this merits the question, and it's as good a topic as any on a First Amendment Freestyle Friday. At what point in the process do we determine that someone is too crazy to own guns? Isn't that what we're talking about? For some people, there is never a point where someone is too crazy to own guns until such time as they do harm to other people. And that's a perfectly acceptable position for me. I don't know that I share it. Is it only up until the point, and these are hard questions. I understand that they're hard questions, especially for a Friday Libertarian lunch here on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. But these are all the questions, all of the reporting that Brian Wilson's doing, all of the reporting that Michael Patrick Leahy's doing. These are the questions that I begin thinking of. Like, where is your line in the sand when it comes to mental illness and gun ownership? Because all of this reporting is leading to the idea that someone should have done something before she attacked the school. And I fully understand that. We want to believe that we could have solved or fixed any and every issue or situation or tragedy like this prior to these tragedies happening. Hindsight, that's why the phrase is out there. Hindsight's 20/20. You can always see the path forward. When you're looking behind, are you? I mean, 4931 says right there, full stop, shall not be infringed. 4931, does that include incarcerated people? Because it doesn't say, see, I get so frustrated by the purists. We've already carved out exceptions. We don't allow people in jail to have guns. But guess what the Second Amendment doesn't talk about, my man? The Second Amendment doesn't say, shall not be infringed, comma, unless you are found guilty of a felony and incarcerated in an institution in a state of your residence. I think reasonable people can come to the conclusion that if you commit an act of violence or an act against another citizen of your community in such a way that you are incarcerated in a rehabilitational institution or a punitive institution, that at some point you don't get to have a gun anymore. We create these. I do not, and I want to be clear here, because there are some purists out there, the John Harrises of the world of Tennessee Firearms Association. And I mentioned John because he comes to mind because I saw him last week, and I said hello to him, and he said hello to me. Are we willing to have a discussion about the realities of our world around us or not? And if your answer is no, everyone should be able to own a gun, period, end of the story, then that's fine. That's the society we're going to live in. And you can expect more covenant schools as a result. Now, on the specifics of covenant, I don't know. I don't pretend to know. I do know that this is a real conversation that we need to have. I'll get vilified for it, and that's fine, because I'm against red flag laws. I'm against preemptive measures. But I am also honest enough with you to tell you that if you are with me and you're against red flag laws and you're against these preemptive measures, then in a society that values that level of freedom, you're going to have situations like happened at Covenant occasionally. It is very difficult in a society that values freedom to make these types of decisions. But us collectively have to make those decisions about what kind of society we want to live in. And sadly, in a country that values liberty and freedom, as we do, occasionally tragedies like this are going to slip through. And there's not always an easy fix. And there are some on the extreme other side of the issue looking at the radios right now saying, did you just say that it's an acceptable tragedy that children die because of your Second Amendment? You can look at it that way, I suppose. So there are gun grabbers that want to take them all. And there are purists on the other side that say shall not be infringed means just that, shall not be infringed. And then there's all the rest of us in the middle, having to sort through this sea of information that's been coming out in drips and drabs over the last week and a half and figure out what the hell it means for our children and our future in the state of Tennessee. We'll try to work it out for you. We'll try to continue discussing it as honestly and openly as we possibly can. Your thoughts on a First Amendment Freestyle Friday coming up, 615-737-9986. It's 1224 on Super Talk. It is Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Thank you for your time and consideration today. I so love these 3 hours we get to spend together. Thank you so much. How am I doing? Am I looking okay? I look okay over there, Belle?
Yeah, actually.
I'm wearing the hat today for you.
I'm digging the hat. You've got a good T-shirt on. Mm-hmm. You can't really tell, but you're wearing some Rodney Dangerfield shorts from Caddyshack.
Whatever, dude. These are quality shorts. Look at these. You want to see these? You want me to show the...
Why did you automatically assume that was a negative?
Oh, the way you said it.
No, I like the shorts. To me, you are dressed how radio people should dress every day of the week, even in meetings with bosses.
Let me, I want to continue the specifics of this conversation here in just a second, but I want to sidebar with the audience, if I may, Belle. You can sidebar with us if you'd like. So if you're wondering why everything got all sappy and maudlin during the Chris Hand show, what with Chris losing McMorey, if you're wondering the nature of this conversation that's going on right now,
actually, because he escaped McMorey.
Well, let's
be honest.
I get it. Yeah, it's true. The host-producer relationship at its best really is like a married couple. And what's happening here has happened in every married household in the state of Tennessee.
Are you going to wear that?
Oh, so you're gonna wear those shorts? Well, yeah, I'm gonna wear. What's wrong with? I didn't say anything was wrong with those shorts. Well, you certainly had a tone. No, I'm just wearing these shorts until I put on the actual clothes.
Would
you like for me to go and change my short? I didn't ask you to go and change your short. Well, I'll go change my short. Well, you certainly have those gray ones in the closet that I always love. Well, you want me to go and wear the gray? Okay, I'll wear the gray ones. You want to see them? Does everybody on Super Talk TV want to see them?
Yeah, show
them. Can you see?
Back up. There we go. That looks like something Rodney Dangerfield would wear in Caddyshack, which is kind of cool.
It also bothers me that we're talking about ourselves as radio producer and radio husband or whatever you want to call it. And I was with you when I bought this shirt. I think I was. I think I bought it.
Yeah. It was when we went to the Titans game.
The Titans game. You helped me pick this shirt out, honey.
Hey, I'm doing my best, man. Just doing my best.
All right, let's slowly but surely slide out of this room and talk on more serious matters with Troy in Antioch. Hello, Troy.
Hey, how you doing?
Good, Troy.
So, I'm not trying to hurt feelings or anything like that. Everybody's entitled to their opinion, and I have mine. But I don't see, everybody's upset about the Covenant School, wanting to release all this stuff to see if the therapist would have said something. So in that case, Jillian Ludwig that was shot in the park, would the Department of Corrections or the judge that released that guy because of his so-called mental illness, would they be held responsible for that?
Yeah, so you're saying that the judge in that situation allowed that individual to bond out they did not prosecute them ultimately in a crime previous to the shooting of Jillian Ludwig. As I recall the details of that case, that guy got away with another violent crime because he was determined not to be able to stand trial based on mental deficiency. But
correct.
The claim in that case was that while he was unable to assist in his own defense, he was not mentally disabled enough to put him in a mental institution, which doesn't make any sense to me.
You're right. And don't get me wrong, I agree with what you're saying, how, the therapist should be held accountable and all that. But there's so many situations that go on in our society today where, the government, the administrations, I got my own personal situation that happened in my life, where my brother was murdered and the son of a cop seen my brother's body and called his dad, and his dad told him just leave there. He's probably just a drunk. And he went out playing on a four-wheeler, come back 3 hours later, my brother's body's still there. I mean, he could have been alive when he found him the first time.
Well,
so
don't get me wrong, and I don't want anyone else to mischaracterize my position. I understand that at some point under the law that a therapist has a duty to warn law enforcement about a plan to commit violence against other people. What I am saying, and I think what you picked up on, Troy, is I am hesitant to suggest that during therapy sessions that anytime a patient brings up to their therapist some of the thoughts that come to their head, I mean, are we going to require that anytime they say this? So even if it's just a fleeting fantasy, oh, I had a dream last night that I killed somebody, that's going to get reported to the authorities, and that's going to ultimately lead to a reduction in that individual's rights. I don't think it's that cut and dry is my entire point. I think it's a lot more gray there than black and white.
Right. I understand.
Yeah.
You know, like everybody's entitled to their opinion. Love the show. Love what y'all do. And just thanks for hearing me out.
Well, absolutely. Thank you for offering your opinion. That's what it's all about. That's what certainly First Amendment Freestyle Friday is all about. It's 12:33. You're listening to Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Matt Murphy, and this is The Matt Murphy Show. You hear Stefano over there talking about the rain coming in. You hear him talking about the moisture that's here. Well, if you've got moisture in your basement or crawl space, you've got a problem, friends. But I have a solution. Thankfully, we have in our community USS. That stands for United Structural Systems. United Structural Systems celebrating their official 30th. I've been celebrating since January rolled around because they've been around since 1994. That's 30 years to me. But the official 30th anniversary rolls around on June 23rd. So happy birthday to USS, United Structural Systems. They've been doing it right that entire time, well in excess of 25,000 satisfied customers now throughout Middle Tennessee and Southern Kentucky. Friends, perfect timing with the humidity that we've had. Maybe you've noticed some musty smells in the house. How about mold treatment? I call it mold remediation. They don't just treat the mold, they treat any type of growth that could be eating away at your wood, at your floor joists. If you have moisture in your crawl space, then you probably have the mold as well. It's one thing to remove the mold. It's another thing to do the RTE solution. That's remove, treat, and encap. Because if you don't take proper steps to prevent it, it will come back. And right now, you have a $500 off your purchase of any RTE mold treatment from USS, United Structural Systems. That's on until June 30th. Happy birthday to everybody. USSTN.com. That's USSTN.com. Keeping homes stable and dry since 1994. 615-488-7855. 488-7855 for USS. Super Talk 99.7 WTN, Matt Murphy, and you. Thank you for being out there. It is the Murphy Show until 3 o'clock this afternoon. Hey, Belle.
I'm looking at the F&M Bank chat line.
Yeah.
And Jackie Walker from Facebook has said, it looks like you just have your boxers on.
Oh, man, these are quality shorts.
I'm just...
You want to...
perception's reality, man.
Anybody want to take a stab where I purchased these shorts? And the flavor of soup that I received for free when I bought them? Somebody asked me if I got a bowl of soup with those shorts when I bought them.
Savory spice?
Negative. If you want to guess, you can guess. These are high quality right here. I don't know if it's obvious or not, but I bought them on my own. There was no one else with me. There was no one to persuade me one way or the other. We couldn't even get it out. 615-737.
What you're saying is Erica wasn't there to stop it.
I'm saying nobody was there to stop it. And yes, they're very stripy. I was preparing for my future career as inmate number 67431. Thank you. I imagine that it's coming at some point. Mark is in the Ham. I haven't talked to anybody in B-Ham in quite some time. I'll be down that way over this weekend. Hey, Mark, how are you?
I'm better than I deserve, Matt. Thanks for asking. It has been a while. I've talked to you, I guess, a couple times since you moved way up to the frozen north. But I'll leave the discussion with your shorts, about your shorts, to those who are more intimate with the matter. I do appreciate, as usual, your libertarian attitude, and you just make so much more sense than most of the diatribe going on. Whenever there's a shooting, and as you're probably aware, Birmingham shootings have not exactly decreased since you've departed. But one of the things that you're very good at, and one of the things I've learned over the years, is to simplify stuff, get rid of the noise, and come down to what's the real question. And so when you're talking about shootings or red flag laws or psychiatric evaluations or even the stupid Department of Justice and its failures, it all comes down to one simple question in my mind, and you've expressed this as well. Are we a culture that values individual liberties and freedom with the accompanying responsibilities, or are we a nanny state? And that's debatable. I think that arguments can be made for both sides. But the question is, and the one I lean towards, is, are we going to continue our penchant in our history of liberty and individual responsibility? That's the way I'd like to go. And unfortunately, we see it daily and weekly slipping away from us. But
well,
anyway,
and you don't. And I'll tell you, well, Mark, I just wanted to converse with you on this point, because I'll tell you where you don't hear it. And you know, my brethren in talk radio circles, I think we have become the electronic public square. So there's a lot of divergent opinion that comes along. But you don't hear these discussions in the mainstream media because they have predetermined. Their narrative is preset before they discuss any issue of any given day. Their narrative is guns are bad. And
I concur.
And I'm trying to break through that narrative and suggest that guns represent something larger than the gun itself. It represents personal freedom and an ability to chart one's own personal destiny in the immediate term when threatened, life, liberty, or property. So, and that can come in the form of a criminal. It can come in the form of a government. We ought to, by God, have that right to defend ourselves, as you have eloquently put. So I try to reset the debate, but then with that comes the reality, and I know it's difficult for us to face it, especially in the midst of tragedies like of an awful nature, like happened in March of 2023 at Covenant School, is that if you value that liberty, then I'm here to tell you that sometimes the evil is going to get through.
Liberty is, in fact, messy. That's true. But, I mean, it's either all of one or all the other. The blending and the mishmash gets to confuse the whole issue. And so if you simplify it down to the basic points, i.e. the Bill of Rights in our Constitution, it simplifies things. But as you have just mentioned, the penchant nowadays is for all of our cultural institutions, education, law enforcement, the judicial system, all the things that we used to rely on as being solid and our foundations have all been leaning and falling over themselves to lean into Marxism and communism. And so that's the real battle that we have.
And that is the crux of it right there. Mark, great call. Please continue to call from Beeham. You know how much I love my former adopted hometown down there.
Well, and I love listening to you, Matt. Thanks so much.
Thank you, brother.
Have a good day.
I appreciate you. Yes, sir. You too. So on one side, you have a certain level of absolutism. We don't want to recognize that if we continue to value freedom, if you say that you support the Bill of Rights and those God-given rights guaranteed to us through nature and nature's God and certified in the Constitution of the United States, so no government or government devised by man is ever confused about where they can and cannot go. With that comes the expectation that in a society that believes in freedom of movement, that believes in the right to self-defense or to defend oneself from a tyrannical government, that believes in the right to freely speak on issues of importance, that believes in one's right to freely and openly express one's opinions within the press and all of that entails, that believes in your ability to freely, say it right, Murphy, and openly express your religious faith and not to be encumbered in doing so by government. That society is messier than one that values security first. And with the messiness sometimes comes tragedy. Should we strive to eliminate every single one of them? Absolutely. Our goal should be perfection. We will never achieve it, but it is superior. If you ask me if I would prefer do I prefer the possibility of another covenant school over the guarantee that there's never one again? I prefer the possibility of another covenant school. I'm going to say that again because I understand that it's dramatic. And I fully understand that there are plenty of people right now that are completely mischaracterizing what I just said. I hope it makes sense to you. That if you ask me that I have to choose one, I have to choose to live in a society that guarantees me that covenant school will never happen again, or I live in a society that leaves open the possibility that covenant school will happen again. I choose the society where covenant school can possibly happen again. Because you know where covenant school doesn't happen? North Korea. Y'all with me? So the question then becomes, if we all agree that North Korea ought not to be an option, or the Chi-Coms ought not to be an option, or the manner in which Putin conducts himself in Russia, as an example, might not be an option, then if we are defaulting to freedom, then how can we limit any encroachment on individual freedoms and at the same time attempt to limit the covenant schools of the world? And that's where discussions of red flag laws come in, and that's where discussions about preemptive strikes come in. That's where discussions about should the psychiatrist say this, should the psychiatrist not. And none of those discussions have easy answers. But I will always and forever side with the concept that it is never a good idea to take rights away from the individual and give those to the government, for the government to use what was a right to better, quote, secure whatever they're trying to secure. It's never a good idea, folks, because the government will consistently abuse that ability. I mean, is there any better example than FISA warrants and 9/11? The Patriot Act gave the federal government the ability to spy on American citizens after 9/11. And you know what the federal government did? They made all these promises about how they wouldn't use it for this, that, and the other thing. They made all these promises about, oh, no, we're trying to catch terrorists in Yemen. We're trying to catch all these bad guys, these towel heads in Qatar. We're not trying to catch you in America. We're not trying to spy on American citizens. To which I say again? What now? I don't pretend that this discussion gives anyone any comfort, because I know, I've been doing it long enough, that I'm annoying everybody right now, because you do not want to face the reality. Not you or you or you, but him. The guy over there in the corner eating the Reuben. That guy. He doesn't want to face it. 615-737-9986. I need a little good news in my life. We're going to have some next on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. A good news segment on this First Amendment Freestyle Friday coming up next. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I feel bad for Alan. He's been holding on, wanting to talk tornado shelters. We'll get to you, Alan. It's First Amendment Freestyle Friday after all. I make that commitment to you. I can't guarantee you that we will get to you in the next couple of minutes, but I promise you very, very soon. So hang in there, and if you're dialing in, you hang in there as well. It's the Matt Murphy Radio Show on Super Talk 99.7 WTN this Friday, June 7, 2024. I failed to mention at the beginning of the show, maybe it's because I have this hat on. It is, in addition to being episode 587, it is also LFT 97, baby. By the time I get back in front of you, we'll be triple digits into LFT, the LFT summer. That's locks for Trump as I continue to grow out my luxurious mane in support of Donald Trump and his ultimate victory on November 5th. I've made a commitment not to cut nor trim. Same thing. My hair. Sadly, my hair will grow into disrepair and poor health as a result of this, because Bell K and the rest of the audience has determined that I am also not allowed to maintenance my hair in any way that keeps it healthy.
This is true.
Cutting off the split ends.
Correct.
I don't even know what those are. Every time I talk about split ends with regard to hair, I think burnt ends, as in barbecue, and I get hungry. But I don't think those are the same thing. I don't think.
Let me make some calls, see if we can get
You know what I'm saying?
barbecue.
I mean, if I got some burn ends in here, is that violating the no-cut policy?
Not if it's barbecue, no.
Giddy up. But you know what? On this Friday, we got lots to get into. I'm going to get into the Hunter Biden trial with Jay St. Clair when Friday begins. I'll get Alan's call in here in a moment. But I feel compelled to offer you a little good news. You know, a lot of the news is bad. A lot of the news is a downer. A lot of times we get lost in all of this. What about a moment or two of good news? I mean, I think we need it. I think we need it. I mean, something to lift your spirits going into the weekend, right? That's right. You tell him, Ann Murray. You tell him. We could. This good news story comes courtesy of Bell K, demonstrating once again that he actually has a heart when it comes to some things. And I absolutely loved this story, and I know that Bell thought that you would as well. So I don't particularly care for the subject of this story, and that would be Jon Stewart. Jon Stewart is wrong on a lot of things, and Jon Stewart is smarmy when he is wrong. People probably feel the same way about me that I feel about Jon Stewart. That said, one thing that Jon Stewart and I share is a love of our nation's veterans, a love of the firefighters and the first responders that gave all, some of whom gave all, some others sacrificed almost all in the aftermath of the 9/11 attacks, and Jon Stewart has been stalwart in his support of those individuals, and he is also stalwart in his support of shelter animals. I could play you during this fine good news segment portions of Jon Stewart's discussion about his beloved dog Dipper. But most of you know that I lost my boy John Henry at the age of 13 earlier this year, and I'm not about to cry in front of you today. But I would encourage you, if you want to understand where we are alike more than we are different, go and find the 3-minute and 30-second video of Jon Stewart talking about adopting a 1-year-old brindle pit bull that had been hit by a car and had lost an arm or leg in that accident. He and his kids went to an animal shelter in Manhattan just to support the animal shelter, and as he said it, they left that animal shelter with a pit bull. And 13 years later, he lost his beloved Dipper. He told his audience this past Monday about his dog, saying, in the world of good boys, he was the best. He ended the segment by telling his viewers, and this was through tears, and I cried. I admit that I missed it up while I was watching it. He said, my wish for you is to one day find that dog, that one dog that is just the best. The animal shelter, as of today, has raised almost $100,000 based on that 3-minute clip. And we can disagree and we can argue and we can fuss and we can fight about the issues of the day, and all of that is very important. but I think we can all come together in a common humanity and love those shelter pets, be they dogs or cats. So good on you, Jon Stewart. It's a little good news on this Friday on the Matt Murphy Show on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Back in a moment. Glock Store, man, oh man, what a great one-stop shop for all things Second Amendment. Let me tell you, friends, we were at the Glock Store last week for the big open house. I'm still just awash. I can't believe the number of people that came out. So many of you came up to see us, to say hello to Super Talk 99.7 WTN. A couple of you hugged Dan Mandis. I have video and photographic evidence of Dan Mandis getting hugged at the event and returning said hug. I mean, that's the kind of event it was. No, we were all friends there, all supporters of the Second Amendment, all believers in the right to self-defense, in the right to defending our property and our people. And that's what the Glock Store is all about. I mean, whether it's handguns, long guns, Glocks, custom-made guns, whether you're into sports shooting or you just want to get better, they've got the Shoot 270 rooms, which are absolutely incredible. They've got the tungsten guide rods. They've got the pyramid triggers. I mean, anything to include or to better the performance of your current gun, or if you're looking for something special, they have some special customized Glocks at the Glock Store. It's the one and only. Go find them on Airlane Drive just off of Elm Hill Pike, or online at the Glock Store website, glockstore.com. That's glockstore.com or shoot270.com. And when you go, tell them Matt Murphy sent you to the Glock Store. I'm excited. I'm as excited as can be. It is hour number 2 of the Matt Murphy Show on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. What is going on? It is, hold on a second. Let me see. Hold on. I'll be right back. I just looked. It's I screwed up the blinds. Hold on. Okay, I'm back. It is a gorgeous day in the Music City. Beautiful, beautiful day in the Music City. And I confirmed it. I don't want to lie to you. And I've been in this room down on the dead end of Music Row for some time now. Beautiful day in the Music City. Hope it's gorgeous wherever you might be listening, and however you might be listening, either on the radio, on some sort of streaming platform, or maybe watching on Supertalk TV, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch. It is up and running, and we thank all of you for making the television side of things possible, to include U.S. Pest and F&M Bank. Did I do it right?
Yeah, that was pretty close.
That was
Yeah, that's good enough for video.
Good enough for government work. Episode 587 ongoing. I'm especially excited because I think Jay and I are going to get an opportunity to do something that listeners don't get to hear very often, and that is disagree. And I'm going to pick a fight with my best friend about something.
You're going to pick a fight?
I'm going to pick a fight with Jay.
You're going to pick a fight?
Me. I know. So first and foremost,
so off-brand.
First and foremost, me picking a fight with anybody not named Bob is weird. But
no, Bob picked a fight with you.
Well,
Come
that's
on.
true. Screw Bob. So I'm going to pick a fight with Jay, my best friend, my lawyer, my legal correspondent, my life consultant, and gambling buddy. I'm picking a fight with him. But after I get to Alan, because Alan's been holding for over an hour. So Jay, hang in there. Alan, thank you for your patience. How are you?
Thank you for taking my call, Matt.
Of course, Alan. Thank you for your patience. I really do appreciate you sticking around so long.
Well, my wife and I are from your former market also down in Birmingham.
Love that.
And we actually moved here. We retired here about 6 months before you came here. We joke all the time. I tell my wife that you're stalking us. But I want to talk about probably tornado shelters. I'm sure you're aware. You remember the F4 that come through Tuscaloosa in 2011 and wiped out part of Tuscaloosa.
Oh, I was on air for 2 straight weeks in the aftermath of the April 27th events. Yes, sir.
My wife and I lived there. We lived about maybe 14 miles from that area.
My goodness.
And I remember in 2008, the federal government made funding available to help build tornado shelters all across. And there was a big push on in Alabama to build public shelters. Where we lived at, there were 2 shelters within a mile. And one was a school and one was a city park. It had 2 huge shelters behind it. And I wondered, I know you've made some contacts with state representatives here since you moved here. Why did nobody tell Tennessee about this? Because in our area, I'm not sure how it is up there, but we're down in Lawrence County, and it's just literally a handful of churches that make available shelter in their basements for people during tornado emergencies. And it's very scary because my wife and I are 8 miles from one and 13 miles from the other, and I don't know why there's not a bigger push on. With this government funding available, I believe, as I recall, they'll pay up to 75% of the cost of either retrofitting existing buildings like schools and stuff like that, or to actually build shelters. And all it takes is an application from the city leaders and community leaders. Mm-hmm. And I just wonder if maybe you can make a memo to speak with one of these representatives, if anyone's made these other outlier communities aware of this, these fundings that are available.
Well, I mean, obviously, folks need to do what they can do to best protect themselves in the unlikely event that a tornado descends upon them, particularly if they are in a structure that is not designed to withstand that sort of thing. So any and all opportunities that we have to highlight that, Alan, we're going to take them, and I'll take you up on it. So when we have multiple tornado seasons here in the state of Tennessee, much like Alabama, and when I have lawmakers on during those seasons, and when the time's right, I will certainly bring it up. Absolutely.
Well, I appreciate your
Yes, sir.
time, and I'm sorry I kind of veered away from the main team that most folks were going for.
No. That's what First Amendment Freestyle Friday is all about, Alan. I love it. Absolutely love it. Get your legal questions in on the membersnutrition.com super text line at 615-737-9986. I'll do it again a little slower. 615-737-9986. It's not every day that you get this type of expensive legal advice for free. If it's free, I'll take 3. It's time for Friday. Indeed, it is. Friday, 111, Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Get those legal questions in. Obviously, we're going to ask Jay his opinion on the Hunter Biden trial. That is ongoing as we speak in Delaware. More of a friendly environment, more of a friendly setting for the Biden family. I mean, if you're a Biden, you probably know everybody on that jury. We'll talk to Jay about that. Before we do that, though, we're going to talk about another subject that I hope gets Jay and I in a fight. I'm itching for one. Secondarily, before we get into any of that, I have a question for my best friend, legal correspondent, life consultant, and gambling buddy. Jay?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
How are you doing?
You know, man, if I were any better, I would be Elton Sawyer. Man, I bet that he's had a great week.
Oh, I you know what? I don't know if anybody else in this audience knows who Elton Sawyer is, but they're about to.
Boy, he has had a really good week.
Well, that's what everybody's telling me. That's what they certainly made a decision. So fill everybody in. This is a very, very interesting discussion. And I am going to intentionally, and you know me, you know I can't help myself. I'm going to play devil's advocate when we talk about this. Because
I got a ringer that you're not going to be able to.
No, we'll see.
I'm ready.
I know. Well, look, you're the lawyer here. You're the guy that argued before this. I've never stepped foot into the United States Supreme Court. So,
well, you have never lost a case.
Well, you haven't either, Jay. and your record starts with a 1, not a 0. I'm 0-0. So set this. I'll let you do this, because you'll do good at it. So set the scene for this debate that's going on in the NASCAR racing world about a quote waiver that Kyle Larson had to receive.
Yeah, so when they went to this playoff format, which I think's worked out pretty well, one of the rules they put in it is in order to qualify to run for the championship, you must compete in every race. Mm-hmm. We all want full-time people, and they were doing that for the good of the sports, right? They want people in the stands. They want their stars to be there every week. Well, this generation's greatest driver, Kyle Larson, wanted to do the double, the Indianapolis 500 and the Charlotte 600 on the same day. The weather didn't cooperate. He got stuck in Indianapolis. He wasn't there for the start of the Charlotte race, and then he did show up, but then it got rained out, so he never turned a lap at Charlotte. Well, technically, he was in violation of that rule, that says that you have to start every race. Mm-hmm. So he, technically at that moment in time was not eligible for the NASCAR championship.
But, despite he's got 2 wins so far this season, right?
Yeah, well, and he was leading the points.
Right. Okay, sure. Yeah.
He was number 1 at points. Well, there have been other people who did not compete in all the races. Maybe the most notable is Chase Elliott, who broke his leg snowboarding. And he missed several races. And somebody else, maybe Kyle Busch, I don't know who got put on probation, or they suspended him. NASCAR suspended him.
And they still let him race.
And they said, well, that wasn't your doing, so we'll let you race it. And so they had the question of, are they going to give a waiver to Kyle Larson so that he can still compete for the championship? And Elton Sawyer is the vice president of competition for NASCAR. And so he was the guy who had the honor of announcing earlier this week that they were granting Kyle Larson the waiver, and so now he can't compete for the championship.
Well, all right, a couple of things. That was really well explained. A couple of things. For those that aren't as familiar with the sport as you and I are, Jay, I think they were very smart. I don't know that a lot of drivers would have done this, but because I think one of the key aspects to this waiver deal is, or the requirement to compete in every race is, technically, let's say you and I are an NASCAR driver. I'm your crew chief and you're my driver. Right. And you win a couple of races early in the season. Right. And, there's something that's going on later in the summer that's, your daughter's getting married or something. You could skip the race if there's not a requirement because you're already in the playoffs.
Guaranteed in the playoffs.
Right.
That's right.
And they didn't want that. They didn't want that to be a consideration for anybody. And so I get all of that.
They want their stars at every race because they want to sell as many tickets as they can.
Mm-hmm.
And then when somebody buys a ticket for a race 2 months from now, they want to see their favorite driver at that race.
It's if you compare it to other sports, and I know sport to sport, it's a difficult comparison, but I'll tell you, basketball, I don't know if you've seen this in the pros.
Yep.
They're dealing with this pretty bad. Because the stars are choosing to sit out certain games. And those tickets, especially the better tickets, are expensive. And if I go to the Lakers game to see LeBron James, I want to see LeBron James play.
That's a perfect analogy. I'll tell you another one that was foreign to me until I had a grandson is Messi. And I think he plays for Miami, Well, it's soccer.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, I don't know, he's the Kyle Larson of soccer. Let's put it that way. And my son and his son, they wanted to get tickets to go watch a game. And I don't know, it costs like $500,000 to get a ticket for one soccer game for Messi. And then you go and he doesn't play.
Yep.
So, it's a problem. And NASCAR says, we're not going to have that problem. So that's what they did, and I absolutely, totally agree with the decision, and I can give you.
Well, why have the? All right, so here's my thing. All right,
okay.
Why are we going to have the rule if we're just going to? I don't believe for a second if this was Chris Buescher choosing not to be. I mean, somebody in NASCAR could tell me different, and maybe I'm wrong, and other people can disagree. I don't believe for a second if it weren't one of the stars that the same decision would be made. So my question is then why are we having the rule if we're going to choose to ignore the rule when it's inconvenient for us?
Great question. And Dale, you may have heard us talk about the fact that Matt lives in a black world.
Black and white world. That is exactly right, Jay.
And that's why he ends up getting in so many arguments.
We argue about shades of gray more than anything in our friendship.
He hates gray. He absolutely hates every shade. He doesn't hate 50 shades of gray. He hates 500 shades of gray.
And let me ask Bell a question real quick. Hey, Bell, you know what Jay does with gray?
Turns it into green.
Turns it into green. Bell's been listening.
Bell's been listening. I thought he was over there playing a video game or something. So here's why I totally disagree with the decision. And once I finish this, you will have to say, Jay, I agree with you.
Okay, all right.
Here's the starting point. NASCAR is a privately owned for-profit company. They're privately owned for-profit company. It's their business. They can do whatever they want to do to maximize their profit. And everybody that competes in NASCAR knows that. It's in the rule book. And I'm not going to quote it exactly, but here's exactly what the rules say. We can do whatever we want to do, and you can't do anything about it. That's in the rule book. And it's a very common thing in racing, actually, in all levels of racing. And so NASCAR has the discretion to do what? Well, for example, back used to when the makes were different and Chevys were winning all the races over Ford. You know what they did? They made the Chevrolet carry 200 more pounds just to even up the playing field.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And because what they want to do is what's best for them. What's best for them is to put as many people in the stands as possible. And I've been thinking of what's the best analogy for what happened here. And then I finally realized, well, I can tell you exactly the best analogy where a prior decision they made, which was absolutely the correct decision. And it was for the same reason that they're making this decision. And you agreed with the prior decision.
Uh-oh.
And that is the absolutely delightful, incredible story of Jocko
Oh, don't you do this to me, St. Clair. Don't you dare bring up Jocko Flacco. And you know what a soft spot in my heart I have for Jocko Flacco.
I told you that I had
No,
to
well, look, nobody, from Your Honor, if I may, your fictional honor, I don't know where Your Honor might be, as we argued this before the fictional Your Honor, but Your Honor, I'm not arguing that they can't do it.
Yep.
I'm arguing that they intentionally violated their own rule because their own rule was inconvenient for them, and I don't think that's right.
Well,
and I'll still watch. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean,
Bill, are you listening now?
Yes.
Should NASCAR have let a driver put a monkey in his car with a little bitty race suit?
Well, considering the story we got out of it, I would absolutely say they should have.
Objection, Your Honor. That poor monkey has been dead for 50 years, and there is nothing. It has nothing to do with this case. And and I'll tell you what, Jay, I'll agree with you. If Kyle Larson's willing to ride with a monkey for a couple of races, I'll agree.
The only reason I know that story is because Matt's told it on air.
Yeah, NASCAR. I want to tell it real quick for those who have not heard it. A race car owner had, and I forget the owner's name, had Tim Flock, who was a national grand champion. This was a grand champion winner, what they called the NASCAR before they called it NASCAR. He won the Grand National. And like the year after he won the Grand National, his owner found this monkey somewhere and decided it would be a hoot to dress the monkey up in a racing suit and put a little helmet on it and give him a racing seat next to his car driver. And the driver just had to do it. And they did it without asking anybody. They race a race. And obviously this is against the rules. And I guess, was it Big Bill France, Jay?
Absolutely.
It was Big Bill France comes out, and all the officials are down there, and everybody's gathering around Tim Flock's car, and they think, Big Bill's about to lay the hammer down on this Flock fella. They're going to throw the book at him, and Bill France looks at all of the fans surrounding that monkey and all of the fans surrounding that car, and the officials are going, and all the other drivers, what are you going to do about this? And Bill France said, I don't see a monkey. And turned around and walked.
Well, here's my question. You're saying it was obviously against the rules. What rule did it break?
The rule was that you cannot choose to not start a race. And Kyle Larson clearly chose to stay in Indianapolis knowing that it would prevent him to start in the Coca-Cola 600.
So what's that got to do with the monkey?
That's what lawyers do, Bell. That's what see what he's doing to us.
Oh, okay.
Now we're talking about the monkey. We're not, and the monkey died in 1960.
See, nobody can be against the monkey. So I'm using that as my analogy.
You're such a good lawyer. Here's the jury in the deliberation room talking about some stupid monkey, and there's Matt still in the courtroom yelling and screaming about the rules and how they're black and white. Well, NASCAR can do whatever they want, but look, all I know is, you and I both know that if that hadn't been the number 5 car, things might have been a little bit different. But you know what? It's hard to say, because if that hadn't been the number 5 car, he never would have been in Indianapolis to begin with, right?
Well, I don't, actually, John Andretti did it one time. And I think you're exactly right. They would have not said, John Andretti, well, I'm sorry, you're out, because you may not have been in the competition anyway. But no, I totally get what you're saying. But here's you're judging it on kind of a morally right versus wrong. I'm judging it on pure profit motive. They're a privately owned for-profit company, and they have every right to make whatever decision they think is in the best interest of their company. And I guarantee you, having Kyle Larson compete for the championship is going to make money for NASCAR.
Jay, hold on.
Almost called, Bill, you don't know this, but Matt and I are friends with the guy that owns probably the largest NASCAR memorabilia company in the world.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Hey, Jay, hold on. Jay, hold. I want you to finish this thought, because I love it. I absolutely love it. But Bell's mad at me because we're running way late telling stories about Jocko Flacco. More on this in a moment. Your calls, your questions coming in with regard to legal matters, and we'll ask Jay about the Hunter Biden story as well. That's all on the way on Super Talk. Hey, friends, Matt Murphy here. Let's talk for a moment about your valuables. Let's talk about the things that you love that are in your home. Now, this might be a special sentimental something, an heirloom from your family. Perhaps it's valuables like jewelry or whatnot, or it's guns that protect the most precious things in your home. That would be your loved ones. Let's protect all of those things with the Safe House. Nashville Safe House has a selection of safes unmatched in any community, And Nashville Safe House has the safe right for you. Whether you're just looking for something small, maybe you are limited in terms of space, or you're looking for a vault door. Literally, they sell vault doors for new construction homes where people are constructing a vault in the basement of their homes. That's what they do. Commercial safes as well. They've got tornado shelters at Nashville Safe House, too. Every brand that you've come to know and love, like Browning, Fort Knox, Champion, Rhino, they've got them at Nashville Safe House. Go by and see them online at NashvilleSafeHouse.com, or go by and kick a few safes in person. Don't kick them real hard, but kick a few safes in person, a la Jack Daniels. It's Nashville Safe House, across the street from City Cemetery. Tell them I sent you to Nashville Safe House. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Bell, I think I got confused. And the super texters are correcting me now. The question was, what rule did he break? And I thought you were talking about Kyle Larson not starting in the Coca-Cola 600. Bell was actually asking what rule the monkey, Jocko Flacco, broke. I think it was that you couldn't have a passenger in the car or something like that. There was a rule where he couldn't be there. You can't have a monkey in the car, Bell. You can't have animal acts in the car.
It seems to me like the monkey would be more property than it would be a passenger.
Well, it's a living creature, but the funny thing is, I was telling Bell, and I'll share for the rest of the audience that maybe missed the original story. The funniest part of the story is that they drove 4 or 5 races with the monkey. I don't know how many. And Tim Flock has the monkey in the car, and he's leading the race. And back in the day, and you taught me this, I think you looked this up originally, they had those flaps inside of the car, right?
Right.
They would check tire wear, and the monkey had been in 3 or 4 races watching Tim Flock lift this flap in his car to check his tires, and so the monkey decided to do it for himself. And a rock flew up through the hole and hit the monkey, and the monkey ended up fine. It's okay, but the monkey freaks out. And so Flock, I just envision, it makes me giggle, I'm sorry, but I just envision this happening in my head. Tim Flock, leading the race, has to go into the pits to throw this monkey out of his car so he can get back on the racetrack. And that was the end of the monkey.
Well, it wasn't the end of the monkey. The end of the monkey's racing career.
Okay, yes, yeah, much better said. That's correct. The end of the monkey's racing. So, well, we're just going to disagree on this. And by the way, I don't know if anybody knows it or not, but I'll just get this out on the record in the form of a question, if I may. Jay St. Clair?
Yes, sir.
Who's your favorite NASCAR driver? Yeah,
right now, this very moment, it is this generation's most naturally talented race car driver, Kyle Larson.
I should have led with that question. That would have set the tone a little better.
That's funny. Because I have to chase guy through and through until this Larson guy showed up.
Well, I know. Well, I'm a little jelly because he's got 2 wins and not just the one. But, it did, in all seriousness, if you are a fan of NASCAR, it helped him greatly that he was standing on the pit box. I think that's why they decided the way that they did.
Well, I watched the announcement from Elder Sawyer in preparation for this, and that's exactly where he went, Matt. He said that was the deciding factor. He did everything he could in his power to race in that race, other than leave Indianapolis and take the green flag.
Right.
But listen, they talked about this before the race. Come on. I mean, there is no way that Mr. Hendricks would have made the decision he made had he not already talked to NASCAR. And they had at the very least, they had a wink and a nod.
Final thought.
What NASCAR said is you better do everything you can to get your driver.
That's right. Race. That's right. We better see an effort, right? Yeah. Final thought on this in another question. This one from the listening audience, 2489. My good friend Robert in Goodlettsville, who has been a part of the NASCAR community for 23 years. He said 23 years in full-time NASCAR racing.
Yep.
Ask Mr. St. Clair this question. You ready, Jay?
Okay. Yes, sir.
Jay, how many times did Robert in 23 years win an argument with NASCAR?
Hey, Robert, how many championships you got? Where are you, Mike? Yeah, so I didn't get a chance to call our mutual friend, but I bet if I had I wanted to call David Carrington and say, where is Kyle Larson on your list?
Uh-huh.
I bet you Chase is number 1 in sales. I bet you Kyle Larson's though. Well, I bet you he's ahead of Kyle Busch.
Oh, yeah.
So, Robert, here's my question to you. Were you at any time in your 23-year career at NASCAR, were you in the top 20 of merchandise sales?
Well, no, I think he's agreeing with you, Jay. He's asking, in 23 years of racing, how many times he won a fight with NASCAR, and his answer was 0.
No, 0.
NASCAR always wins.
No. Well, it's their show.
That's right. That's right.
It's their circus. They can do. There's that great scene in Days of Thunder. Who was the senator from Tennessee that played Big Bill France in that movie?
That was Fred Thompson.
Oh, Fred Thompson. He was great.
He was
a great actor. And you remember that scene where he's got Cole Trickle and Randy and at Rowdy at dinner. And he says, look, you monkeys, can you just going to be greasy spots on the side of the road? Let me introduce you to the concept of Japanese inspection. You remember that?
That's right. The Japanese lettuce inspection, wasn't it? Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. No, that's right. We'll get around to inspecting that lettuce.
Yeah.
It'll be rotten by the time we inspect it, but we'll get around to it.
No, the perishable commodity. It's his show. It's his circus. They can do what they want to do. And if you don't like it, then you can go race IndyCar.
Mm-hmm. Well, Jay, we'll come back and talk about the Hunter Biden trial in just a moment with our good friend Jay St. Clair and a lot of questions lining up. We'll get off the NASCAR circuit and back into a court of law with Jay St. Clair in a moment on our Friday Jay edition on Super Talk. Hey, folks, it's Matt Murphy, and, we all experience pain, particularly as we get into middle age and beyond. And if you're experiencing some form of pain and you find yourself popping pills over the counter or even considering going to a doctor for something stronger, I would encourage you, before you do any of that, to contact the Dr. Gill Center for Back, Neck, and Chronic Pain Relief. I know I did, and I feel better as a result. My back pain has been eliminated. Thank you to the Dr. Gill Center. It was the spinal decompression that I needed. I had compressions in my spine that pinches the nerve, that causes the pain. You need to get decompressed. You need to get some hydration flowing. You need to get some relief on those nerves and on your spine and on your discs. And you can do so through the spinal decompression technology, available first at the Dr. Gill Center for Back, Neck, and Chronic Pain Relief. They brought it to our community over 30 years ago. I want to bring you to the Dr. Gill Center. If you're in pain anywhere on your body, back pain, neck pain, knee pain, hip pain, elbow pain, anywhere pain, let's call the Dr. Gill Center and schedule that appointment today. It doesn't cost an arm and a leg, less than $50, and you'll get a full examination, a first day of service, and they'll X-ray you to find out exactly what's going on in your body. 615-882-4838, 882-4838 for the Dr. Gill Center for Back, Neck, and Chronic Pain Relief. Super Talk 99.7 WTN 139. Matt Murphy and you. It is a First Amendment Freestyle Friday. More specifically, this hour, it is Friday. A number of questions coming in from the Peanut Gallery. We'll get to those momentarily. Jay St. Clair, a good friend and frequent guest, life consultant, gambling buddy, joining us. Jay, this, it's almost a photo negative of the dynamic that we saw in New York City with the Trump trial, considering that it feels like this Hunter Biden trial, I don't know how it's going to go, and it looks pretty bad for Hunter Biden, frankly, from what I've read and looked at. But it is a home field game, it seems, as it is in their backyard, the Biden's backyard. You got for the first few days of the case, you had the first lady sitting there in the courtroom, and a jury of one's peers. Give me your 50,000-foot assessment of this case so far as you understand it.
Well, you just did it, man.
Oh.
I listen to you. That's all I'm doing.
Yep.
No, that's exactly right. The evidence of guilt, frankly, from the news accounts is pretty overwhelming. And so it's just a question. It kind of, it sounds like the O.J. trial in a way, although the dynamic there was a little different. It made me think of another trial. This may have been before your time. Did you know that Dolly Parton got sued by someone that said she stole the song 9 to 5? That she plagiarized that song, that she didn't come up with that. She stole it from somebody else. Did you know that?
I did. I don't believe I did.
Yeah, because that was back in the 80s.
Uh-huh.
And that case went to trial. And I looked at where it was. Like, if it was in Nashville, I mean, right.
Right.
But it was actually in L.A., but it was Dolly Parton. You want to guess the outcome?
Not guilty.
It took the jury 39 minutes.
Imagine that.
And
let's be honest, though. The person who wrote Jolene and I Will Always Love You, she needed to steal to create 9 to 5. Come on.
That would be my closing argument, Bill. You guys are really quick learners. I would get up in closing argument and say, Jolene.
Yeah, I mean.
I will always love you. 9 to 5.
Yeah. Coat of many colors.
Coat of many colors. Hard candy crisp.
9 to 5.
Thank you, members of the jury. So, you're exactly right, man. It all depends on the jury. And it's back to the deal of a hung jury. Just one person. Right? I mean, they could have 11 to vote to convict and 1 to acquit, and it could end up with a hung jury.
Well,
it'll be really interesting to see what happens.
And I mean, I don't know, maybe I shouldn't, but I felt like the defense, it's an odd little defense that they're claiming, well, he wasn't high at the time that he filled out the form.
Yeah, right.
And because of that, he didn't dishonor. I mean, it's just like everybody looks at that and goes, what? Come on now.
And frankly, one of the most remarkable things that may be coming out of all this, and of course the mainstream media is not reporting it at all, but it's truly remarkable, is the key piece of evidence that the FBI, that the government, that Biden's Department of Justice put into evidence is Hunter Biden's laptop.
Yep. I mean,
years ago, even Biden was saying, well, that's Russian disinformation.
Mm-hmm. Well, and the defense tried to keep it out, saying, well, there's some question about its authenticity. And the prosecution went to the Department of Justice and said, is there any question about its authenticity? And they were like, no. And they presented that to the judge, and the judge said, well, we're going to allow it.
Yeah, it goes into evidence. So that's just kind of a little sideshow that's part of it. But I'll say this, Matt, I love our judicial system. I do. I love it. I'm proud to be a member of it. But we're not perfect. We aren't. And if this ends up in a hung jury or an acquittal so quickly after the Trump trial, the two-tier system of justice in this country is going to be really apparent to a lot of people.
Well, and I said this, you probably saw it on the X machine, that in a way, and I think you'll know where I'm coming from as well as we know one another, in a way I almost hope Hunter gets off because I believe that two-tier system exists, and I think the American people need to be aware of it, and I think this would illustrate for them in a very clear way how that system unfairly impacts certain defendants and unfairly benefits other defendants.
Yeah, and if anybody has any doubt about what we're talking about, go read or go watch To Kill a Mockingbird.
Oh, no question. No question. All right, let's get to a few membersnutrition.com super text questions. Josh wants to know, and I have actually 2 questions on this regard, so I'll kind of synopsize both of them by saying, is there any update on non-competes? And Josh specifically wanted to know, are non-competes enforceable in the state of Tennessee? If not, can I have a prospective employer buy me out of one?
There's no update. The proposed rule is still there. I just have to go into effect, I think, fairly soon. I know legal challenges have been filed, so that could put it on hold. But as we sit here today, right now, there is no federal overarching rule prohibiting non-competes. right now it's state specific. In Tennessee, non-competes are permissible, but not always enforceable. They're very technical, and it depends entirely on the facts of each specific case. But so there's no blanket prohibition against non-competes right now. That might come into place within weeks. Could a prospective employer buy? They could, I suppose. I get calls like this a lot, Matt, where one of my clients is thinking about hiring somebody that has a non-compete, and they'll send it to me. That just dawned on me. I tell you with this process. And they'll send in a non-compete, and they'll ask me, is this enforceable? And we'll talk about it. So I suppose somebody that's wanting to hire somebody with a non-compete, they could call the current employer and say, hey, I tell you what, well, I see this non-compete. I don't want to get crossways with you. How about if I give you X amount of money, will you release this guy from the non-compete? They absolutely could do that, and if the other company agrees with it, that's entirely legal.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Question for Jay. Aaron writes, does the average citizen have any standing to sue the Biden administration for any harm done, for example, due to suppression of the Hunter Biden laptop? But I'll just say more broadly, Jay, it's a question we get from time to time. Can an average Joe citizen sue the executive branch of government?
Well, I mean, the short answer, yeah. Hey, Bill, what does it take to file a lawsuit?
Crayon and $400.
So the answer to that is yes. The average citizen could sue anybody they want to sue. What you're really asking me is, are they going to win? And the answer is no. I mean, there has to be a very specific injury to a very specific person. Just a generalized harm from generalized act. The federal government's failure to enforce the border, for example. Then I couldn't sue based on that. But if I was a landowner in Texas and my family got killed by illegals who were crossing the border with our border patrol waving them across and giving them votes, they have a very specific injury. They stand a better chance, but it's still hard to sue the government, man. There's this concept of sovereign immunity. It goes back to the Middle Ages in England, and it basically is from the rule that the king can do no harm. There's this idea that the king can do no harm, therefore you cannot sue the king.
All right.
Sue the government.
Makes perfect sense. And before we go, Jay, 8695 writes in and says, Jay hit it out of the park with his University of Tennessee baseball prediction last time on. Any new predictions for the Super Regional?
Yeah, well, it's at home. All we got to do is win 2 out of 3 at home. But my crystal ball broke a long time ago. But I will make this prediction for the Super Regional at Lindsey Nelson Stadium this weekend. The Tennessee Vols will hit at least one long ball, in the Super Regional this weekend at Lindsey Nelson Stadium.
You're not even going to go say per game? Aren't they hitting? I mean, they're the most. I think I saw this. They're the second most prolific home run hitting team in the history of SEC or maybe NCAA. I don't know.
They are bombers.
They are bombers.
They are bombers. And I got to say this. I'm glad they ditched the fur coats and all that crap. I didn't like all that. They're behaving better. And I tell you, Coach Tony's the real deal. He's about to get himself a big raise, and he deserves it, and I'm very happy for him.
I love the fact, and I know that this, I mean, I see it. I see it on social media, and we talk about it. I love that your grandson is bringing you back around to Big Orange.
No, it's great. It's just,
watching him fall in love with the Tennessee Volunteers is kind of, it's sucking you back in, I think, a little bit.
Yeah, well, it is. It's also modeling. See, I remember vividly taking my son when he was 8 years old up to Knoxville to watch Tennessee football games. And now his son, who's 8 years old, he's taking him up there to soccer camp and to watch basketball, and I'm sure he'll take him to a football game. And it pleases me very much. It reminds me, the whole idea of being, I didn't think about this, man, but what is most pleasing to me about being a grandfather is watching my son be a father. And he'll do things with his son, and I'll say, well, where did you learn to do that? He said, you don't remember, do you? And I went, well, no. He said, well, that's what you did that for me.
Oh, that's good.
Oh,
that's good. Well,
yeah.
you tell Chuck when he tells his boy to paint the poles in the garage, paint them all the way down to the floor. Don't give up.
Right now.
Jay, love you, brother. Great segment as always. We'll talk soon, my friend.
Love you, brother.
Take care. There's Jay St. Clair. What a good segment that is on Fridays. I hope y'all enjoy it as much as we enjoy presenting it. It's 1:51 on Super Talk. All right, so you've got some decisions to make about food this weekend. Where are you going? What are you going to do? Whatever that decision might be. Maybe you're grilling something out on the grill. Oh, man, it's grilling season, is it not? You need some spices for that. You need some grilling tips maybe. You need some accoutrement to go with the tasty meat. You need something to put on that meat. You need savory spice. Maybe you're not doing any of that. Maybe you're baking something in the oven. Maybe some fish, salmon, whatever. Savory spice. Perhaps you're creating some sort of stew or something in a pot on top of the stove. Savory spice. Savory spice goes with anything and everything that you cook. They make everything better. I like to tell you, I feel like there was a point in my life where I didn't buy the cheapest on purpose. I wanted to up my food game when it comes to a cut of meat or when it comes to veggies, and go into, for example, the farmer's market, the local farmer's market, where you can get, broccoli and other veggies locally sourced rather than getting them from the grocery. That's upping your food game. Well, you got to up your spice game too, and do that with Savory Spice. They have the Spice and Easy products there. They've got great gift-giving ideas in 2 locations, convenient to you. One's at Charlotte Pike, L&L Market. Tell them I sent you. Please tell them I sent you. Do that for me. And then Franklin, of course, right off the square next to Gray's Pharmacy. Stop in, say hello to Holly, David. They're such great people. Oh, and congratulate Holly and David. They just adopted a new animal into their life, a little doggy that I think they're going to name Whiskey. What was the other name that I told you about? Remo? I can't remember. Anyway, ask them what they named their new adopted dog when you stop by. The one and only Savory Spice. Hey, there's a Bitcoin convention coming to Nashville. You guys heard about what am I saying? Heard about this? Y'all heard about this? There's a Bitcoin convention coming to Nashville. My name is Matt Murphy. Although right about now I don't want it to be. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. It's 1:58. Glad to have you with us. We've got one more hour in the week, and not a moment too soon, I'll be off. I am not here Monday. I have a wedding to attend, so I'm not here on Monday. Because for some reason people are scheduling weddings late on Sunday evenings, which I'm not going to comment any further on that. But I'm not here Monday as a result of that. Cameron Smith will be here in my stead. So it is also our last hour of the week is a last opportunity to enjoy a Friday Mac Attack with Cougar Chow, a.k.a. DTM, before he heads off to KC. I don't know what the draft... Do we know what the draft's going to be? Are we drafting today? I feel like we should, if it's going to be the final in-person draft. We'll decide that during the newscast and figure it out and come back with you. You want to stick around for this? I'm going to make McMorrie cry on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Cannot wait. 615-737-9986. Your telephone calls as well. Plus, we'll get into Bitcoin for what I know about it. And a great story involving American Airlines. It's all on the way on Super Talk.
Two o'clock, I'm Mac Maury with your top stories. Another hot one outside right now, 89 degrees in Nashville. Full weather forecast, traffic report in 5 minutes. An American World War II veteran dies on his way to a commemoration of the 80th anniversary of D-Day in France. Dave Packer filling us in.
102-year-old Robert Perchetti was on his way to Normandy Beach to join his fellow World War II veterans on the 80th anniversary of D-Day when he was taken ill, airlifted to a German hospital where his guardian says Perchetti died peacefully. Perchetti served in the Pacific during World War II and in his diary recalls watching the raising of the flag on Iwo Jima. Following the war, he was a schoolteacher in Rochester, New York. After retiring, Perchetti continued to visit classrooms, telling students about a war he said should not be forgotten.
Crime in Tennessee. Franklin police looking for a man who took a photo of a woman's skirt. Someone reported seeing him lingering around the women's section at the Target off of Galleria Boulevard. And while the victim wasn't looking, he snuck in close, snapped the picture. Police posted surveillance video of the suspect as he was leaving. That image showing a young white man with brown hair and facial hair and wearing a white T-shirt, khaki pants, and Croc shoes. And he left in a silver Honda car. And Kia recalling over 400,000 vehicles because of a fire risk. Alex Stone filling us in.
Nearly 463,000 Kia Telluride SUVs are being recalled. Owners are being advised by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration to park them outside and away from buildings until they can be fixed because the front power seat motor can overheat and create a fire while parked or driving. That fire could then burn down a home if it's parked in a garage. Kia dealers will fix it for free. Owners will get a notification letter after July 30th.
And that is the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Mac Maury, WTN News.
It is Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Matt Murphy, and this is our final hour of the week. Fridays are always a little bit different. I know that they probably shouldn't be. There's a lot going on in the world. I mean, there's the Hunter Biden trial, for goodness sake. There's Joe Biden ripping off Ronald Reagan. Did you see Joe Biden's speech at Pointe du Hoc? My goodness. And I understand some people say Pointe du Hoc, but I just pronounce it the way that Reagan pronounced it. But I could be wrong. But he ripped off Reagan, like
he did.
Constantly ripped off.
That is, dude, come on, stop. That man, why do you have to accuse Joe Biden of plagiarism?
Let me get.
Just stop
it. I like that. I like what you did there. Don't mean to giggle on top of your very sarcastic humor, but that's very fun. Hey, listen, look at it's the voice of Mac Maury.
Hello.
All right, so before we get into all of this, let me do it official. You ready? I'm going to do it official because I've got a very important announcement to make. So, that we do care about this because, you hear the voice of Mac Maury, as you may or may not have heard, and we've been talking about it for many days, really, on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. This week, this day, marks the loss of someone very, 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 very special in all of our lives. And today's our opportunity right now at 2:07 in the afternoon on this Friday, June 7th. It's our opportunity to discuss it. So I think it's time to discuss it. That's right. Pat Sajak is retiring after 41 years in service to our country, nay, the world. Can you be quiet for a second?
Sure.
I'm trying to do this. Excuse Maury.
Stop running the bit, man.
A little freaking respect, man.
Sorry.
Pat Sajak.
What am I doing?
I don't know. Pat Sajak is retiring as our beloved host of The Wheel of Fortune, the most popular game show in American history. And it's a sad day for all of America, nay, the world. Vanna White will continue. Ryan Seacrest will be the new host of Wheel of Fortune. But there's nothing like Pat Sajak. Pat Sajak, after 41 years, retiring. Pat Sajak reportedly a little bit taller than Mac Maury.
You can tell he's a short timer, too, that he doesn't even respect the bit,
Oh, yeah, Mac Maury's also here.
Yeah. Hey.
I love the old school Wheel of Fortune theme. That's when they kept giving away the Dalmatians. You ever watch Wheel of Fortune? One moment in your life?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Caught a little bit of it, for sure.
Pat Sajak's retiring. Did you know that?
I did.
Yeah. Well, see?
Did you know he used to be right here in Nashville?
I did. I saw, who was it? Rudy Kalis. So Rudy Kalis, I met him briefly at a Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway event. Did not know him, was introduced by a mutual friend, Norm Parton. Rudy Kalis was a longtime sports anchor in Nashville, probably a little before your time, certainly before my time, and retired some years ago, and now does a lot of ministry work with the Men of Valor organization, which is a wonderful organization in town and across the state of Tennessee. But Rudy, I'm standing there talking to Rudy, and, I'm respectful of his impact in the city of Nashville, obviously, and in the state of Tennessee. But then I see a post of old school Pat Sajak on some TV station in Nashville as the weather guy, and he's standing next to Rudy Kalis, and I was like 2 degrees of separate. I was next to Rudy, and he was next to Pat, and I love Rudy, but it's Pat Sajak, and Pat's been next to Vanna, and I had her Playboy.
Do you remember his old talk show?
Yeah.
Well, his Ed McMahon was Dan Miller, who was the news guy here on Channel 4.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So they had obviously become friends, I suppose?
Yeah.
Both from, WSMV. Wow.
Wow. Sajak did not. Just don't go look those up. Or,
the talk show?
A little bit
bad.
It was a little bit crazy. It was not as bad as Chevy Chase, but it was.
Yeah, it wasn't terrible, but you're trying to horn in on Johnny Carson's territory, and they're just not going to have it.
Chevy Chase tried a talk show?
Yeah, it was.
Now,
so bad.
Sajak, everybody's like, well, there's too many cooks in the kitchen, and there's not quite enough there to overcome the Johnnies of the world or the Lettermans of the world. Chevy Chase was awful.
Yeah,
awful.
I bet that was terrible.
It was awful.
He's kind of a nut.
I can't believe that when Chevy did his show, the first couple of weeks worth, I can't believe some executive went, wait a minute, we're paying him for this?
What are we doing? Yeah, I got to watch that.
I mean, it was bad. But everyone says that Chevy Chase was and has always been very, very difficult to work with.
Yeah, kind of a jerk, a little bit of a loon.
Which circles right back to you. Difficult to work.
That's a pro right there. Where
Difficult to work with.
Yeah.
Jerk, a little bit of a loon. Mac Maury. There you go.
I'll take the latter. A little bit of a loon.
There you go. I mean, how big is your head right now where everybody's just hugging on you and loving on you and, oh, my God, we're going to miss you and we may as well just shut the radio station down?
Yeah, seriously, what are you guys even doing here? It's over.
I know. I don't know. Is Wilson coming in today?
Yeah,
I don't even know.
This is Mac's last day by choice. It's ours by force.
Yes, exactly.
I suppose.
Yeah. No, it's the drive, Mac with Mac Maury. Yeah, that's it.
I mean, you're just some sports dude that did this for a minute.
Literally. And you
just
guys
to
have
bide your time.
And everyone's so happy about it. It's been honestly, it's been so nice. The amount of calls and texts today from the listeners, so like kind of just it really puts it into perspective. You know, it's really cool.
Well, we're getting a lot of feedback online, and we welcome that. If you want to offer us some feedback on the telephone lines, by all means, it's a First Amendment Freestyle Friday. I suppose we're drafting something. It's your segment. It is Friday Mac Attack. It's never been Friday Murph Attack as much as I try to take it over. So you tell me if you want to draft something. I do think that we've got a call on the hotline bell where somebody wants to sing Mac Maury a song.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah. Well, that's a big. I mean, this is big time. We're not shortchanging you here.
I think I might know who it is.
You don't know. I don't think you do.
Really?
I don't think you do.
Oh, now oh gosh. Okay.
I'm
ready.
I think you should reset your expectations.
Okay. So it's not Dolly Parton. All right.
It's not. No, it's not the Queen of the World. The Queen of the World is not calling you.
You got a dime, though? We can get you a dime store Reba.
Hey.
We can get you a dime store Reba.
There it is.
The red-headed stranger has returned.
When the moon hits your eye like a big pizza pie, that's Mac Maury. That's his theme song.
That's the theme song.
And I'm going to miss you.
Oh, I'm going to miss you too, Pamela. Thank you. So I needed to hear that one more. It would have been, yeah, I wouldn't have felt right if I didn't hear that theme song one more time.
Right.
So
It just makes everything right with the world.
Exactly.
Well,
exactly.
See, I just wanted to personally say congratulations on this new gig. And like I said, we'll miss you. I was there probably from the very beginning as you set foot in WTN studios, and it's just been a joy watching you grow. And now we have to see you fly away. It's a good day.
Oh, baby bird. Baby bird.
I know.
Falling out of the nest.
Yep. All right. Well, that's all I wanted to say.
Thank
I
you
just
so
want
much,
to sing to you one
Pamela,
more time.
Yeah, one more time. Do it one more time, Pamela.
Yes,
Come on.
please.
When the moon hits your eye like a big pizza pie, that's Mac Maury.
It's beautiful.
That's gorgeous.
Very
There
nice.
she
Thank
goes.
you.
There
Thank
she
you, Pamela.
goes. Bye,
Love you.
Pamela Furr.
I actually have audio from his very first interview for this job.
Well, this is breaking audio. No, I don't think anybody else has. I should say exclusive audio on the Matt Murphy Show on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Young Mac Maury in his initial stages on the station.
That's about right. That's about it.
I would say something along the lines of, well, tell everyone where you're going and what you're going to be doing. I feel like we all know.
Everyone knows. I think, if you don't now,
I think we need to do a draft.
Let's do it.
Okay.
Let's do a draft.
What do you want to do?
So I had said best finales of all time. I know you had brought up best Mac Maury moments. I'm down with either of those.
All right, we'll figure it out. I'll tell you what we'll do. Take the break early.
Oh, okay.
We come back. We do the draft after the back. Extended Friday Mac Attack with Cougar Chow himself. Our final in-studio version of this on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Super Talk 99.7, WTN, Matt Murphy, and you. And Bell K, and McMorey. So there's 4 M's, a B, and a K, and that constitutes Friday Mac Attack on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. All right, it's 2:19. This is our final Mac Attack. Now, I was thinking that we could have an MMA bout ongoing. MMA, monthly Mac Attack.
Oh, I love that. Oh, yes, absolutely.
How about
I'm all
that?
in.
You all in on that?
Yes.
You think your employers out there in Kansas City will allow it?
They'll love it.
You think? Oh, they'll love it. Whatever.
It'll be great.
Are you going to ask for pay?
Well, of course. Yeah,
There you
I
go.
thought that
That's
came
what I was
away. I'd be compensated correctly.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely.
It's award-winning
There's
segment.
No question. You'll get compensated in those little crackers that...
Moon pies.
And moon pies that, and, you know,
Potted
KC
meat.
gear. Do you got your KC underpants on right now?
I don't. I'm waiting on that. First day of work.
He's going commando today.
Well, why should today be any different?
Come on.
All right, tell us it's time for the let's go ahead and officially, do the thing with the official thing and the bam 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 da da. Yeah, that thing. Yeah, that's fun.
That was pretty good. Bam, 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 bam.
Yeah. All right, Friday Mac Attack, final in studio version. McMorey, what are we drafting today?
I say we do best finales because this is mine. So obviously that'll be the number 1 overall pick. But we after that, it's a really good draft.
Sorry, I got completely distracted.
What?
Because Wendy has written in McMorey, more like Mac Bory.
Oh, nice.
That's a good one, Wendy.
Wendy's full of those. She's great. I will miss
that.
Wendy. I will miss Wendy.
No matter what we do with this, it's going to devolve into a roasting of McMorey.
Yes, that's pretty much it. Wendy does that every day. Why wouldn't today be done?
And by the way, Kathy writes in and says, if Des Dickerson were here, he would say goodbye to Mac the Nice.
It's true. That's a good nickname, too.
And good Lord, you've got all these nicknames. Cougar Chow's the nickname I'm sure you're taking with you to Kansas City.
Of course.
Not Mac the Nice.
Be sure and trademark that.
Yeah.
CC and KC. Best finales. Considering that you and I wanted to do best McMorey moments. But
No,
then,
I was okay with either one.
Well, but I realized we really couldn't come up with 9 best McMorey moments, so that would be embarrassing. We'd I mean, there was the time that I convinced him to leave work to go to Whataburger.
Love that.
That was a good one.
Convinced. You told him to.
Yeah, you did.
Did I twist his arm? I said, "Hey, I need you to go to Whataburger and try to interview them in the to-go line."
And somewhere in there was the phrase,
drive-thru.
"Don't make me twist your arm."
Yeah, and you were holding out your credit card, and I was like, okay, that sounds good.
And then you went and you got us. Didn't we get banana pudding milkshake?
We did.
Oh my goodness
So good.
gracious!
Well, actually,
good.
you got us all 3 burgers.
Yeah,
and
3 burgers.
milkshakes.
Yeah, we did the whole thing.
I love Whataburger. I got no complaints.
No, the only complaint I had about that is that at around 3:30, I was ready to fall asleep, and you guys were done, and I still was gone.
That's as planned, sir. As planned. A low light of our time together was the peanut butter and mayonnaise sandwich. I had actually forgotten about that until I got brought up.
I know, yeah.
Brought up earlier this week.
Hey, Jason just had a good point. The best McMorey moment, the time he moved to KC.
Nice. No, I remember we did the peanut butter and mayonnaise, and the one thing the super tech's like, well, you can't do that mayonnaise. It's got to be the other. No. It doesn't
Mayonnaise is
matter.
mayonnaise.
Complete
Doesn't matter.
trash. You know, they used to eat pig's feet, too. You know why? Because they had to. So, I mean, I don't know what to tell you. But it was gross.
We've got so many options.
We got other options now. We got jelly.
Exactly.
You know what you could do?
Honey.
You know what you could do instead of peanut butter or mayonnaise? Peanut butter.
Yeah, please.
Yeah.
With no mayonnaise.
Yeah, just have a glass of water if you're really fine.
Hey, Mac, did you ever watch WKRP in Cincinnati? Have you ever seen it? Do you know why Dr. Johnny Fever was fired from the radio station originally?
No.
He said booger on the air.
Booger.
What?
Yeah, that's true.
Why was that a thing? Was
They
that
couldn't say booger.
Can't say booger
Nasty.
on the air.
Community standards.
wow?
Then when they flipped the
We're gonna
format
be
to rock and
screwed.
roll and brought him back, he said in his very first break, he said booger.
Good.
Because you could do it.
Yeah, heck yeah.
Sure. All right, so let's do best finales. You want one of these?
Yeah, I'll take that
Yeah,
one.
you take that one there. I mean, I don't think we should let him go first. Which one do you want?
I'll take the one in your left hand.
This guy?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sometimes things are just meant to be, though. You know, give me number 1, baby.
They all say number 1. I'm just kidding. I'm number 2, and
Okay.
you're number 3.
Gotcha.
All right. Best finale today is McMurray's final day on Super Talk 99.7 WGN. Obviously, he'll be back in town. We'll hear him again. He's not dying. No. So let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's not start weeping. He's dead to me already, DTM. But your first selection, please. The draft has begun.
So this is actually a newer show, but I really like the ending. Hannah showed me the show. I didn't know what I felt about it at first. The Good Place. Fantastic twist of an ending. Do not see it coming. If you did, good for you. I didn't. Caught me by surprise. Wrapped it all together. The Good Place.
The Good Place. Never seen it?
Never seen it.
I figured that's fair. It's within the last 5-6 years, so that's fair.
But Max says if you've seen it, you know.
Seriously, you know.
So I feel like when we're talking finales, I mean, a finale indicates that there was a series of I feel like we're talking about television shows.
I feel
more
like
than
we have
anything.
to. I know. I was thinking, well, what else could it be?
You could do a sports thing.
You could do a sports thing with like a series about like a Game 7 that was incredible.
I've got one of those in my arsenal. I think those count as well.
Like movies, I guess the ending to a trilogy. You know, that could be a finale.
Sure. I'm gonna stick with television shows for my initial selection, my number one pick in the 2024 finale draft in honor of finally getting rid of McMurray. It's going to date myself because McMurray, just as we had not seen this, I doubt that he has seen any of this show. Cheers.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Oh, my goodness.
That's a good one.
So, you know the setting of Cheers?
Yes.
Boston bar.
Yep.
Ted Danson plays an old sports guy, a pitcher for the Boston Red Sox. He owns the bar. All of the cast of characters.
He's an alcoholic who doesn't
well,
drink.
Sure. I mean, all the cast of characters, and, there's Norm, and all these other guys are coming in and out of the bar.
Yeah.
Frasier came out of Cheers and had a great spinoff series. But the finale and the ending of the last show, and it gives me chills. I don't know why it gives me chills, but it's just a show that it's there every week. And right at the end, he's wrapping up things in the bar, and a figure comes to the door of the bar, and you just a shadowy figure, and Sam looks at him and says, "Sorry, we're closed."
Oh,
and it's just
and that's it, over and done,
and it's done.
Oh, that's perfect.
Mm-hmm.
It's like they almost should have just faded to black,
or I don't know, play "Don't Stop Believing" on the jukebox.
Well,
I've never even seen that. Anyway, go ahead.
I'm going to go a slightly different way, and this is, probably because I consider myself a little bit morbid, but I think there's no better way to end things than by dropping 2 nuclear weapons on a country and calling it a day. So the end of World War II with the bombing of Japan.
That's fantastic. That's perfect.
Y'all want another one? Okay.
There's more where that came from.
If you say so.
And you know what? After we drop the second one, we probably like, y'all want another one? You probably should say no because we don't have one. But you don't know that. That's awful. Too soon? Probably too soon. Probably too soon. It was
80 years ago.
It was a hell of an ending. A hell of an ending. Mr. Morey, your second selection.
Yeah, I'm running through some sports stuff. I think I'm going to wait till the third round for my sports pick because
who's going to pick your trash?
Yeah,
nobody's stealing it. You could just leave them on the bed for undrafted free agents.
It's going to be. I need to. It's last dying pick. It'll be good. But I'll go with. Oh, this is tough. Give me Breaking Bad. I've drafted this in best TV shows of all time. It's one of the best TV shows of all time because it also has a fantastic finale. Something that you can't say about other great TV shows.
Yeah.
Game of Thrones, really bad finale. Would not get drafted today. Breaking Bad will. Neither of you have seen it.
No.
I've seen episodes,
okay,
but I haven't seen it all the way through.
Fair enough.
No, I haven't.
It's a time.
No, I get it. You know what I'm doing now? I'm trying to catch up on some of those. I'm going through all of Curb. Do you watch any Curb?
Oh, yes.
Love
I should
Curb.
go through all of it, too, because I've seen episodes.
Right.
Lots
So
of episodes.
it's really hit or miss because you don't really, there's some chain stuff that goes on, but not a lot.
You can get by.
Yeah. It's mostly Larry David yelling at people.
Exactly.
And being yelled at.
Complaining.
Complaining about something.
That's awesome.
Hey, what are you doing?
Yeah.
So I started, and the beginning is weird because it's in 2000, so it feels dated. There's only been 12 seasons, but it's been 24 years.
Yeah.
And so it feels different, it looks different, but I'm working through that. But I've told myself that I need to do Breaking Bad. So
Please tell me when you do.
I will. My number 2 selection in the 2024 best finale draft, I am going to go sports. It is my favorite sports moment in all of sports, and it's Game 7 of the 1992 National Championship Series. The Atlanta Braves versus the Pittsburgh Pirates. If I had better prepared for this segment, if I'd known we were drafting finales before 5 minutes ago, I would have pulled the audio. But it's Sid Bream on second base, Francisco Cabrera hitting a slap single up the middle, and the slowest human being on planet Earth rounding third base to score the winning run for the Atlanta Braves to beat the Pittsburgh Pirates 3-2 in Game 7 to go to the World Series. That's the greatest finale of all time in sports for me. Bell?
I'm going to go a little bit of a different direction. This is related to TV shows, though. One of my top 3 all-time favorite TV shows, Friends. Not the actual finale. Not the actual finale. But the one that guaranteed there would never be a reunion, and that's the death of Matthew Perry. Boom.
There's a lot of consternation and confusion on the membersnutrition.com super text line because, one, they're saying, well, World War II did not actually end when we dropped the bomb, but
yeah, that's
I don't need your nitpicking, people.
That is kind of true.
That is kind of true.
Also, what did he just draft?
I'm not really sure. He drafted the death of Matthew Perry.
Matthew Perry,
which,
by the way, was too soon.
Drowning in his own jacuzzi.
As one of your top 3 greatest finales of all time.
Yes.
Okay.
That's lovely.
I mean, it's your team, buddy. I don't think you're going to win a lot of games this year, but it's, whatever.
Well, Cleveland Browns. Let me. All right, I'll go sports, and this will be sentimental. It's all connected. Going to Kansas City. Going to talk about my Kansas City Chiefs mid-dynasty, right in the middle of this dynastic run. I'm excited for it. Well, what started this all was Super Bowl 54, 2020. The Chiefs down 10 points to the San Francisco 49ers, and Mahomes showed us just a glimpse of what he was going to show us for the next, so far, just 5 or 6 years, and hopefully it's another 10 or 15. Comes back from 10 points, and we end up winning that game by over 2 possessions. We scored 21 or 24 points in that fourth quarter. Give me Super Bowl 54.
Okay, you done? I'm such
wow, that just really.
I checked out while he was like going through. We were somewhere in the middle of the second quarter when I checked out on him.
Here's Matt.
I just wanted to make sure he was finished.
Here's Matt.
I don't care.
It's a great moment for me. I have a video of me just on my knees, just in tears after that. It was great.
Do you?
Yep.
Can I see it?
I'll show it to you.
Will you send it over?
Yeah. I will not send it over.
Will you send? Come on.
No.
Mama Maury, you want to send over some baby pics? Now's the time. All right, I'm gonna my number 3 select. We got to go quick because we're late for your news. I don't think we're doing the. I don't think we're doing the news. I don't know. Maybe we're not. Maybe we are. I don't know. But we're late, so we got to go quickly. I loved the Seinfeld finale. I don't care what anybody says. So I'm going to pick Seinfeld.
Hot take. I like it.
I mean, everybody says it was awful. They circled back around. To the initial, and people get lost in this. He found a way to circle back around to the initial dialogue that they were having at the beginning of the first episode.
Awesome.
It went all full circle, and none of it meant anything. Honorable, I don't guess I can do an honorable mention until Bell goes. Go. Do some trash, third selection.
No, this was actually pretty easy because it's the highest rated television show of all time.
Sure.
With 77% of the country watching it.
Pretty crazy.
And that would be the MASH finale.
It's incredible.
I never saw it, so I can't really judge it, but obviously everyone else did.
The whole country practically stopped to watch it.
One of the more unique ones, honorable mention for me, was Bob Newhart, the new Bob Newhart show. So Bob Newhart,
yeah.
Bob, you don't know this, but this guy did 2 really popular shows. One was in the 1970s, and the other was what, 90s? early 90s, maybe
late 80s, early 90s.
late 80s, early 90s. And so the original one, he was married to a particular woman. He was a psychologist or a psychiatrist. In the new one, he was a shopkeeper, an inn owner. So at the end of the new show, the finale of the new show, he wakes up and he goes, "Oh, I just had this awful dream," and he's in the old show. It was like the entire new show
was a dream.
Was a dream.
Him dreaming.
So he's with his old wife. He's a psychologist again. He's in the old. It was really well done. So,
that's fantastic.
Great finale. It's worth just looking it up on YouTube.
Yeah, just for that.
Just to watch the reaction.
That's great.
There's Mac Morey. We will.
Are we doing news?
We'll reflect on the. No. We'll reflect on the life and times of Mac Morey coming back next on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. He's not dying. That we know of. But Dan might kill me. Also, I'm sorry that I interrupted this lady. It makes me proud, and maybe I shouldn't be, but I am. I should be. I take it back. I am proud to be associated with JK, Erica, and US Pest every time I'm coming into work. When I'm headed toward the loop from 40, when 40 and 24 merge, and then you're heading toward the city, coming from the east or from the southeast, and you look up, you'll see the beautiful US Pest billboard, because they do some billboard advertising as well. And there are American flags over that billboard because that's the way that JK wants to present himself. He loves this country. He loves what this country represents. And I love how much he loves the United States of America, and I share that love. And beyond that, he is great at what he does at US Pest. And that is to keep the bugs, who are all communist and socialist, out of your home, off of your property. God bless America. That's what it's all about. So if you want to get rid of those Putin cockroaches, if you want to get rid of those, I could go on. What? Don't laugh at me. I'm doing a spot. If you want to get rid of those communist or socialist bugs and creepy crawlies that pay no rent, that pay nothing for your property, but they want to glom on and take what's yours, then you need to get rid of them. And you get rid of them through US Pest. I want you to call US Pest, contact JK and his team today. Get them out there for a free inspection. They'll look over your property. They'll check out the termite situation, the bug situation. They'll let you know what they can do for you. And they'll do it better than anyone else in the business. 590-1260. 590-1260. That's in the 615. Or go online to uspest.com. That's uspest.com. You know, I got to tell you, these segments come right on time. Right on time.
It's true.
Because we continue to have interlopers trying to, make hay while the sun shines with Mac Maury, as it is his last today. And so all these folks are coming by. Well, it really is like you're going into the hospital for some sort of surgery.
Seriously.
But you're not.
Back.
You are. You're taking off. So Mama Maury, while she loves Super Talk 99.7 WTN, and frankly, let's just be clear, she has a favorite, and it's me. And that's fine. It's fine. She likes you too. Mandis, maybe not so much.
Yeah.
Brian, she loves you.
Yeah, Brian,
loves you.
Brian. Dan, yeah.
But I got to tell you, she loves her some Murphy, and she'll continue to listen.
Oh, of course.
But she lives out in KC.
Yep.
And so you'll stay with Mama Maury for a minute.
Yep.
Right? I heard you say this morning you had the entire basement.
Got the whole basement.
Is it a finished basement?
It is. Oh, yeah.
That's important.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, you're thinking, yeah.
In that case, you might want to call it a downstairs apartment.
That's literally, yeah, that's what it is.
So what are you guys going to talk about over there on the, what is it, 610?
It's a 610 KCSP, yep.
Mm-hmm.
Man, we got a lot to talk about. The Royals aren't half bad right now. We got Chiefs.
Have you found yourself...
Cricket?
Cricket? What is the story on cricket, by the way? I saw this. I saw a headline.
We beat Pakistan yesterday, which is the equivalent.
That's actually a big deal.
It's huge. It's honestly the biggest upset in sports history, possibly, because us beating Canadian hockey team, but way back when, and the Miracle on Ice.
Yes, we beat the Russians.
Beating Russian hockey team, Miracle on Ice. Huge upset. But those were professional hockey players that we had, and hockey is not near the sport that cricket is. Cricket is the second biggest sport in the world, and we beat the
what?
It's the second biggest sport in the world: soccer and then cricket.
Huh.
Followed by and then tennis.
Huh.
And this would be like
then lacrosse.
This would be yeah. This would be like a bunch of D2, D3 football players beating the Chiefs.
One thing you said, I think. And I don't mean to correct the sports guy, but I don't think we had professional players playing on our U.S. team at the time that we beat the Russians. I don't think that's right.
We didn't have any.
I don't believe
these were
we
just
allowed
college guys.
Those were amateurs.
Oh yeah, this was before we had.
This was before we allowed
that's
the
true.
pros.
That's true. Okay,
but the Russians were allowing pros.
Yeah.
And that was
okay. You're right.
That's why it was such a big deal. Is that not only they were a professional team in and of themselves and were beating everybody. But
that's fair.
But yeah, so that's cool. So we, the USA beat Pakistan in cricket. Have you ever watched a cricket match?
No, but I'm going to this upcoming Wednesday. Pakistan and India are the two top dogs. We just beat Pakistan this Wednesday at 9:30 a.m. We play India. I'm in, bro. Come on, it's the red, white, and blue. I'll support it. Let's go.
I've said for years that I love my country more than I hate soccer. So if the United States of America is doing well in men's or women's soccer,
here.
I'm
tuning
okay, fine, whatever.
Yeah, I'm all in.
I'm not, but I am.
Soviet team consisted of professional players with significant experience. We had 4 pro players on the American team, but they were minor leaguers.
Yeah, so they weren't even NHL guys. They weren't pros.
Right.
Yeah. That makes sense. No, it's a huge upset. I'm just saying for the world effect, more people care about cricket than they do hockey.
Well, 5536 is a critic saying cricket is incredibly boring.
Never watched it.
I've never watched it.
And people watch the hell out of that.
People love baseball. People love soccer.
If cricket is boring in the way that this conversation is boring me, then I completely agree with 5530 or 36. Pardon me. So when's the last time you were in KC on the regular? I mean, you visit your mom.
Yeah, for sure. Go back and visit. And even when we moved, I'd go back all the time. But yeah, on the regular, living there, it's going to be, 10 years, close to 10 years.
Actually, he goes back more to watch the Chiefs than he does to see his mom. He sneaks into town without her knowing.
Don't you do that? You've done that on the regular for your entire time in Nashville, right? You go back to watch a few games?
Yeah, my brother's got season tickets, so I'll be going to pretty much every home game.
No. You'll be working the games now.
That's true.
Which is very different. You don't get to watch.
You're not just hanging out having a beer.
Yeah. That's fair.
I don't know. I know that at college events there is no rooting in the press box. I don't think there's rooting in the press box, Maury.
It's true. Got to be official.
So you got to wear the black shirt, not the red nasty number that you got on right now. And
Oh, they're rooting in the press box. What are you talking about?
Yeah, you got to do so quietly.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, exactly. Because you got the other beat writers right there, and you can't. Yeah, you can't be doing that.
You can't. So, what do you anticipate has changed in Kansas City? I've never been to Kansas City. There's a guy who's never been to Kansas City. Never been to KC. I've been to Kansas once. I drove through. So, never been to Kansas City. What's up with Kansas City?
Man, great people. It's one of those cities that, and I believe it still has this. I haven't lived there in 10 years, and I know it's increased in size, just like most cities do over time. But it has one of those feelings where you can get that city vibe, that nightlife, those things like that. But also, you feel like you're in a Midwest town. You feel like that small town vibe is still somewhat there. Fantastic art scene, fantastic music scene, best barbecue in the world.
Please don't start that.
It is. That's fine. You can get the super text line going. It's the best barbecue in the world.
What is the difference between Kansas City barbecue and other what's the...
burn-ins is our big thing.
Burn-ins.
I
think
think
split ends.
Something about the sauce, too, isn't it?
Yeah, there's I think it's ketchup-based sauce. I can't remember our sauce. It's
gross.
It's good. It's good.
Gross. I'm a mustard-based guy or a vinegar-based guy. But all right, so I looked this up. You ready?
Yep.
I'll get your comments on some of these things. Kansas. What is Kansas City known for? Number 1, Country Club Plaza. What is that? Do you know what that is?
Grew up right next to it. Yep.
What is that? Like a mall?
Yeah.
Okay, sure. All right, done with that. Let's move on. Number 2. Oh, the American Jazz Museum.
Great music.
I'm excited already. Number 3, Arrowhead Stadium.
Heck yeah, baby.
Number 4, I didn't know this. The National World War I Museum and Memorial is in Kansas City.
Love that museum. I need to go again because I was a kid when I went, but I'd love to go again. Fantastic museum.
The Cinder Block Brewery. The Barbecue Experience, the KC Barbecue Experience. Union Station.
Oh, Union Station. Great. Yep.
The Nelson Atkins Museum. I don't know what that is. And then coming in at number 9 or 10, I forget where I am on the list, McMorry. So there you go. Yeah. There you go. It's a pretty happening place that you've already cracked the top 10.
Nelson Atkins is one of the better museums in the nation.
Is it flat out there?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not trying to get you off your high here, but
that's fine.
You're not going to be near a water source of any
That's true.
significance. Does that concern you at all?
No, I told you were asking me what I'm doing this weekend. Tomorrow I'm going to enjoy some of the free CMA festivities with some of my friends, some of my fiance's friends. And it's going to be a great time. That is not happening in Kansas City. I'll tell you that. Kansas City doesn't have things like that. So I will miss that.
Kyle wants to know, how is McMorry going to get the woo flu all the time in KC?
Yeah,
no more woo flu.
No more woo flu. Going to have to get over that.
What day of the week traditionally has Patrick Mahomes come on the morning show on 6:10 a.m.?
That's a good question.
And
he has come on, right?
Does he call in or does he show up?
He's done both. It's
got to be a call-in.
He's done both. But yeah, during the season, it's going to be call-in. Yeah, he's not coming in at 7 in the morning or whatever.
But this is for the most part. I mean, our boys over on the Zone, they're going to get access to Will Levis. They're going to get access to some of those stars. That's what happens when you are the flagship station of a team like the Tennessee Titans. The Zone 104.5 is the flagship station. You're going to the flagship station of the KC Chiefs, so you're going to have access. You are going to meet. You're 26 now?
Going to be in August, yeah.
Okay, you'll be 26 in August. Before you are 27, you are going to meet Andy Reid.
Yep.
That's crazy.
I mean, look, I got him. I'm getting him.
So exciting.
Look at him. He's tearing up a little bit.
So exciting.
He's thinking about being down on his knees, wrapped around Andy's leg, not letting go in the locker room. I love you so much.
I love you.
Who's this kid?
You want some nuggies? I get some pocket nuggies. In all seriousness, you're a great talent. You're a great rising star in our business, and you're going to go far. And it is such a pleasure to know someone when you know. And I mean this from the bottom of my heart. I'm not going to look at you when I say it, okay? I'm not going to look at you when I say it.
Be a man, look at him.
When you meet someone and I've been in the business long enough that I know that I'm not ever going to reach that echelon. But when you meet someone and you know, I'm going to look back when I knew him now and say I knew him then because he's going places. You're one of those guys. And congratulations to all of your success. And we'll make it a point to spit on your very name. As you
know how to end
we'll do it daily.
As your star grows brighter and brighter in Kansas City, we will, as soon as you leave the state, begin the rumors that you were an awful human being, that all of this was a big phony act, that none of it was real, that you were a horror show to work around. Yeah. All of that's coming, okay?
Like, Mom, what are the Super Talk guys? Oh, they hate you now. Oh,
Maury who?
Yeah, exactly.
No, in all seriousness.
Thanks,
I know you got Brian to go.
I really appreciate that.
But you got through 3. Look, I don't think I was at my last radio station for 13 years. No, longer than that. 14 years. I don't think I got this kind of send-off.
They were just like, get out.
They were
Get out of here, man.
like, thank God, finally.
But we're going to see each other next Wednesday, though, right?
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
As far as you know, I don't know that you've been given the proper I don't know that I've been given the proper location. We'll find out.
We'll find out.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
Off the air.
Yeah, go do the news or something. There's Mac Morey. He's leaving, going to Kansas City. He's a big trader. DMT, or did I say that right? No, I didn't. DTM, dead to me. We'll check in with Brian Wilson, who is most certainly not, and he's been doing some great work this week. We'll get back to more serious matters coming up in just a moment on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Occasionally during these crossover conversations, I feel like the white rabbit, and Brian Wilson is the queen of hearts. And I'm late for a very important date, and I apologize for being late. But Brian Wilson is here. Hello, Mr. Wilson. How are you?
Hey, how's it going?
I'm doing well.
As you know, I'll get right to it since our time is limited.
Yes.
I've been doing some reporting on the Covenant shooting and some documents that have come my way.
Yes, sir.
But today, you will actually hear sound from an interview police conducted.
Oh, wow.
With the shooter's parents some 4 months after the shooting.
Wow.
It is compelling stuff. And this has never been heard before outside of police circles. So if you are interested in the Covenant story, and as we've been presenting it this week, you definitely want to be listening here at the top of our show at 3:05.
Oh, wow. That is dynamic stuff. And I know I will be listening, and others will be gathering around their radios to do. You've been doing great work, and I know you're not doing it for this, but I want to say it publicly, loudly, that you've been doing fabulous work on this story.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome. And I can't wait to hear some of this audio that Brian's got for you in just a couple of minutes on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. The drive begins in just a few moments. Mac Morey's newscast begins right now on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Have a wonderful weekend. Cameron Smith in for me on Monday. I'll be back on Tuesday. Until then, so long, everybody.